The title of this podcast suggests exactly what we're here to explore: the heart. And few people in the BC food and beverage world embody that more quietly and consistently than Chef David Speight. David doesn't make headlines for his own accolades. He makes them by lifting others, the brands he buys from, the apprentices he trains, and the local farmers he champions. This is about that. I feel like I've known you for such a long time, too, and I haven't really known you that long.
Yeah, what, probably 8 years?
It's gotta
It was
be.
before pandemic,
Well, yeah, because
right?
Megan's been with me for 8 years, and
Yeah,
you've known me as long as I've known Megan, I
right.
think, and did you come to the first From the Ground Up
Yeah,
trade
first
show?
one at, like, Creekside in Olympic Village,
That was our
right?
first conference. You were
Okay,
speaking
I was
you
speaking at
were
it.
on the panel
Mhm,
at our first conference. Oh,
mhm,
wow.
mhm.
Wow, we go back. Okay,
Yeah.
we go back. Yeah, because it seems really weird that we just had our 8th From the Ground
Well,
Up.
yeah, that's crazy to me. Like, how did
It
that
is
happen?
crazy. I know, I know. I want to ask you before we jump into your history, why do you why do you love the show so much? Because you talk about it a lot.
Yeah, well, it's the best show in
See,
Vancouver.
that's what you say,
It's
which
the
is great
only
to
one that
hear.
interests me.
And why is
It's
that?
because you have excellent local products that I
Okay.
want to buy and I
Okay.
want to learn more about. I
Okay.
don't need to go to all those shows where it's all the big global companies. I mean, we know that product. Cisco sells it to us every single day. That's
Right,
not a
right, right,
mystery to
right,
me. But like what you offer is
right.
unique and valuable to what we want.
What about those brands is, interesting to you? Or
Uh,
what is it that you find interesting that, that you
sure.
kinda piques your interest?
So they're all different, of course. So like the one unifier is that I know that they're local,
Yeah.
which is a key aspect. I also know that they've worked with you in some aspects. So I
Okay.
know that they're business ready in
Okay.
ways that maybe new and emerging businesses might not be.
Right.
So there's a level of confidence there.
Mm.
At the end of the day, the product has to be good for
Mhm.
any of them for us
Yeah.
to do business with them, of course.
Yeah.
But it's an opportunity to see like how many did you have this year? Like,
We had, I think it was
yeah, yeah,
65% of the booths were
right.
brand new to our
Hmm.
show, but also, I mean, some of them had been around for a bit, but for the most part, doing Sprout Street this year, that was really
It was
fun.
cute. Yeah,
Yeah, that was really
I
fun.
like that.
And that was like super newbies, right? Like those were super new, but even sprinkled throughout the show was still newbies that were, that was their first show and they just,
Right.
happened to want to have a full booth and whatever. But
Hmm.
yeah, it was kind of cool.
So I know I love that show. Obviously, you know
Yeah.
that, and like it looks like others in the industry, it's getting quite busier from
Yeah,
like
I know
who's
it
going and
is.
attending.
It was the highest attendance this year
Okay,
that we've ever had, so that
right.
was kinda cool.
Yeah, no, that's super
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
obviously, it's not just me.
Yeah. No, I know. I just find it interesting though, because I feel like you're our number one fan.
Yeah, well, we've
And so I'm
been
always curious as to what is it that really pulls you to the show? What is it that pulls you to these brands? What can they do? What can the brands do to kind of, get into UBC? Like, what is it that what is it what kind of I don't know if it's I wanna say hoops that they have to jump through, but there must be something that kinda makes you go, "Yes, that's a UBC product."
Yeah, so there's hoops, but we try to minimize those hoops because we know that those hoops are really difficult for small businesses to get
Yeah.
into, like almost impossible back in the
Yeah.
day. Like, you know this, 10 years ago, forget about it.
I
You weren't getting your
know.
product in no matter how good you were, no matter how
Right.
much the chef wanted it.
Right.
It wasn't happening. That's all changed. So by design, like at UBC anyways, we've created that. Like
Mhm.
I think I met you maybe through Vicky Wakefield, like
Oh,
right?
yes,
You
you
were probably
did,
working with
that's
Vicky
right.
initially,
Yes, I was
right?
working with Vicky.
So she
Yep.
was a trailblazer. Like she
Yeah.
saw this before I
Yeah.
got to EBC, before, this was, well adopted across the province as far
Right.
as institutions trying to buy local and source local. She was already onto it and into that. So I feel like that was a connection
Mhm.
for us. You had
Mhm.
a good
Mhm.
relationship with her, and then she moved on, and I kind of filled that spot. Your connection to Feed BC is very important.
Yeah.
It kind of solidifies it in a way.
Why is Feed BC so important to UBC and to you?
Well, we're part of the university collaborative for Feed BC,
Yeah.
right? So and of course we're going to do this work anyways, but Feed BC helps open doors.
Yeah.
And also, the fact that every institution, university, post-secondary institution in BC is a member of Feed BC now, I think
Yeah.
is really special.
Yeah.
And of course, they're all at various levels of support for local, but they
Right.
all have a commitment. And when
Mhm.
everybody's asking our suppliers for the same types of things, then all of a sudden the marketplace opens up and
Mhm.
it makes it easier for those that are already doing that. So,
Right.
and then also yes, we're UBC Food Services. We are self-funded. We don't get funding from the government, but we are part of the university.
Mhm.
And so the university obviously is a large BC institution. So anytime we connect with other ministries of our same province, then there's an obvious connection there that we want
Right.
to support.
Right. Going up to kind of more of a 30,000-foot view, what do you think is happening in the market in terms of just, the threats from the tariffs and everything else? What do you think is happening in general? Just because we've gone from, especially in BC, I think we're such a unusual kind of, we're in an unusual spot in that we really haven't seen across the country what's been happening in IFS or institutional food service, I should say, for people who don't know what I'm talking about. In BC, we're not seeing that across the country, but we often we often start the trail in BC. What are your thoughts around what's happening right now and if it's going to increase or because we've seen a really, as we saw this year in the show, a huge increase in local brands, local companies just sprouting up everywhere. So
Yeah, well, with the tariffs, I mean, obviously that's a tough situation for Canadians and Canadian businesses to grapple with for sure. We're so closely connected to the American economy.
yeah,
But silver lining. Let's use this to bang the drum and say what we've already been saying. We need to buy local. We need to invest in local BC businesses, and
yeah,
this is yet another reason. It's often a financial barrier to buy local,
mm-hmm,
and when prices from whether it's across the states or globally increase, and the local prices don't, then that levels a playing field, and that's an opportunity for us to take
that's a
advantage
good
of it.
point.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
And I also want to, I just mentioned that it's often more expensive to buy local, which it is. But I will also back that up by saying it's more expensive to buy quality products. And a lot of times when we're buying these local products, yes, they're local, but yes, they're also quality, high quality,
Yeah,
very small scale family owned businesses
yeah,
that put a ton of effort and really produce an excellent product.
yeah.
And excellent products, regardless where they come from, cost a premium. So,
Very true.
so I like to kind of back that up when I say local food does cost more sometimes.
And UBC has a discretionary budget kind of to deal with that, does it not? Or is that kind of gone away?
Not really, but I mean, we've got a budget and we spend
Yeah,
a lot of money. And so when you spend as much money as we do, I
yeah,
think, of course, you have to be cognizant of what you spend. If we make a mistake financially, it's a big mistake based on how much we spend annually.
yeah,
But it also creates opportunities we could spend $200,000 with a small scale family owned business, which would be a ton of business for them, but for us it's a drop in the bucket, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
we really leverage some of the things that we spend a lot of money on and try to get best pricing based on those velocities,
yeah.
and then channel that back into smaller scale businesses and
Nice,
some funding that way.
nice, nice. Okay, let's pivot. Let's
Okay.
talk about you.
All right.
Let's talk about how you started. We were kind of joking around about you starting out washing dishes. And so tell us a little bit about your career trajectory, what brought you to now UBC for the last, how many years have you been with UBC now?
12 years.
12
I
years.
know, right?
That's a long time.
Yeah.
But please walk us through how you got there.
Yeah, and so just thinking that 12 years at UBC, I mean, that means I've probably been doing this for a long time, right? And I often say, yeah, I've been a professional chef for 25 years. And I was like, I should probably update
Actually, it's
that.
getting,
It's
I
been more
know.
than that now. Yeah, I didn't fall into this industry knowing that I wanted to be a chef. I fell into it for a job.
Yeah,
Simple.
yeah.
I went across Canada when I was 18 with a friend, and when I got back, I didn't have work. My sister was working at Mother Tucker's in Coquitlam at the
Oh,
time,
funny.
and she got me a job, and I was a dishwasher,
Yeah.
and I loved it. I was really good at it. For one, maybe I'm weird, but I like that kind of pressure and that stress and that instant reward of working, whether it's in the dish pit or on the line. And I was really good at it. And the most important thing for me was the people. I just fell in love with the people.
Mhm.
And I still didn't know that that's what I wanted to do for my career, but I knew
Right.
that I was really enjoying it at the time.
Nice.
And then that restaurant closed. But one of my chefs there was the roommate of a sous chef at Monk McQueen's. And
Okay.
so he brought me down there. And that's the first time that I really got inspired about the culinary arts and what good food can be. And I worked for a chef named Robert Craig there at the time, and
Okay.
he saw something in me, and he talked to me about my apprenticeship, and so that kind of set the
Nice.
career path in motion.
Nice. And so
Mhm.
where did you go from there? And you
Yeah, so even, now that I'm at UBC and before that Rogers Arena, when I was in restaurants, they were still large restaurants. So
Yeah,
Monk McQueen's Fresh Seafood and Oyster Bar, we do 600 covers on a night, on a sunny Saturday in the summertime, right? So it was
it's a
bumping.
lot.
And then from there, I went to Bridges Restaurant. So again, yet another very large Vancouver
Very
institution.
busy.
And then from there, Rogers Arena and then
So
UBC.
training wise,
Yeah.
on the job training, or did you actually go through school?
So both,
Oh, okay.
and I think that was really important. So I did my apprenticeship while I was at Monk McQueen's
Okay.
here at VCC,
Okay.
and what I really love about the apprenticeship program, we have one at UBC now,
Yeah.
is the fact that you learn on the job skills while you're learning your culinary arts
Yeah.
in the classroom. Because I can't tell you how many people I've hired fresh out of culinary arts school with their fancy
Don't know
diploma,
anything.
and they can only do one thing at a time.
Yeah.
Right? They may know all the terminology and,
Right.
and know how to do everything, but they just don't know how to multitask. And
Right.
and as that's not going to fly in our industry, right? So the apprenticeship really grounds you in both.
Yeah.
You can't do one without the other. You can't pass your in school portion if you don't know the culinary knowledge and techniques in school,
Right.
and you also can't pass if your chef doesn't sign off saying that you
Right.
are actually doing this on the job as well. So I love that. And then I went to the Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park, New York, just because it
Oh,
was the best
cool.
school in North America.
Is that a
Probably still
1 year
is.
program or 2 year
Yeah, it's
program?
2-year program.
Okay, 2 years.
And it's just walking the halls of where some of the best chefs in the world, quite frankly, have trained is
Yeah.
just inspiring.
Nice.
And so the education I got there was first class,
Nice.
and reads really well on a resume, of course, when
Yeah.
you're applying for jobs. So
Yeah.
it does that. But I think I learned just as much in my apprenticeship, my 3-year apprenticeship program, as I did in my culinary arts program at the CIA. Different things,
Wow.
but
Yeah.
I can't say one's more important than the other.
Well, that's just the thing with education, right? It's like you're going to get things from coming from different angles, so different understandings. That's really cool. And so, is that kind of what inspired you to? Because did you start the program, the culinary program
At
at
UBC, yeah,
UBC?
yeah,
You you spearheaded it.
that was under my
Okay.
watch. I thought it was really, really important. So a couple things. One, for me personally, it was a
Yeah.
path forward.
Yeah.
Opened doors for me.
Yeah.
So I thought I saw great value in it.
Yeah.
And then beyond that, we wanted to have anyone first cook and above needed to have a red seal, and just nobody did. No, like we
Okay.
we put ads out and interview and recruitment,
Right.
and we couldn't find anybody with a
So
red
you're
seal.
specifically working on Red Seal for
For
okay
the apprenticeship
for your
program.
apprenticeship
Yeah,
program.
that's
Okay.
that's the goal at the end of it.
Okay.
So then, the light bulb went on, and we realized quite quickly that if we do indeed want people to have red seals, we were going to have to create a pathway forward for
Right.
them. So
Right.
we established the apprenticeship program in 2017, 2018 now, I can't remember.
Okay.
But we've already got 13 graduates, like fully red seal graduates, and
Wow.
we have another 8 in the program at various levels right now. So it's been a
Wow.
huge success for us.
We're very much looking forward to the dinner tomorrow.
Yes, and the apprentice dinner tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I think it's
that's
gonna
fun.
become an annual favorite for us
I
because
bet.
it's yeah, we
Yeah,
loved that last year.
that's
That was
great.
great. That's wonderful. Oh, that's cool. You know what? While you were talking and you were saying about, being in the dish pit and then, being a chef and being on the line and everything, and it made me think about my sister was talking about how, she's in newspapering and it's deadlines,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's like, "You must love deadlines, because she said, "I could work in the ER." And I said, "What?" And she said, "Yeah, it's that environment actually inspires." And do you find that? Do you find like it kind of motivates you? Like it's like if you had all the time in the world, you wouldn't get it done, but because you're under deadline, it's like No
Yeah,
problem.
it's a different business for sure. I mean, all chefs probably have some aspect of that in them because if
Yeah.
you don't, it's a really hard business. It'll chew you up and spit you out. It's hard work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What I like about cooking, it really is a profession where you need to use your heart, your muscle, and your mind all at once. Like a lot
Right.
of professions need two
Yeah.
or one, but you really need to have all three.
That's cool.
And what I also like is, as much as I don't like the whiteout when the chit rail is full and the machine has this stream of chits that you haven't even got to yet,
Oh,
and you're in the weeds
oh,
and it's only getting worse. In the
oh,
back of my
yeah.
mind, I always know that every single day, no matter how bad it is, everybody always gets fed.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? Always. Like never have I
That's a
had a
good way
situation
to
where
look at
people
it.
didn't get the food, right?
Right.
So yeah, there's that instant reward. Every day's different, and but at the end of every day there's a completion. There's no more people to feed, right?
That's really
Mhm.
cool. That's really cool. Wow. Okay. Is there anything you wanted to talk about just your work or anything about the industry that you want to bring up?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to talk about like where I see it going. It's certainly in my role at a university, it's changed dramatically.
Yeah.
So when I started there, it was not how it is now. I can
No,
certainly say.
I can say that too. Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
So we need to say no more about that.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's changing, and it's not just changing at UBC. Certainly, we are
It's
blazing a
changing
trail. It's
everywhere.
changing
Yeah, it's
everywhere,
changing
and it's
everywhere.
changing like in healthcare too.
Yeah, I
And I
know.
think that's amazing. Like I always wondered why. Well, I know why, but I always thought, why do we feed the sickest people the worst possible food
I
while they're in
know.
hospitals,
I
right?
know. I know.
And so that's changing. University dining programs are changing, and businesses are starting to understand that this is an opportunity to sell your product to an institution. We're not just interested in one-stop shop with the mainliners anymore. We do
Yeah.
want diversity of products. We want quality products.
Yeah, we've really seen that actually through Pitch and Plate. Like
Hmm.
when we started Pitch and Plate 5 years ago, that Pitch and Plate is a chance for brands to 10 brands at a time, basically to pitch to institutional food service. And when we started, we just had you guys. We just had post secondary, right? And then there became this groundswell of interest coming from healthcare. And I would say that there's almost more of them attending now Pitch and Plate than post-secondary. It's really, I think what's happened is I always say with stuff like this, where there's a will, there's a way.
Right.
And so what I'm finding is I'm seeing that these folks are like saying, well, if I can't put it on a patient tray, I can put it in the cafeteria, right, for the doctors and
Right.
nurses and the visitors, right? And so we're seeing a lot of that, and I'm really heartened to see that there's actually a lot of folks that we know that we've worked with that are getting in there, that are getting into these little cafes, and there's products are selling. I mean, they want better stuff, right? They want the doctors and nurses want better snacks, better food, more varied foods to eat. So I think it's pretty cool what's happening on that front. I really, again, as I said about BC blazing the trail, I really hope to see that. We would love to see Pitch and Plate go across Canada. We'd love to see this be a program that really opens up the market for all because healthcare, the wastage in healthcare is
Right.
80%.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
It's crazy.
80.
Hmm.
80% of this food is getting thrown in the
Right.
garbage.
Yeah. So not only they're buying poor quality food, they're also throwing it away, right? So
Yeah.
like I mean, we got to take a step back and look at that and think like
I
why,
know, I know,
right?
I know.
And I know why, but
Yeah.
let's
Budgets
change
and
that.
whatnot, but
Budgets,
yeah,
yeah,
but right.
third party corporations that don't really care about
I know,
that,
I
right?
know, I know.
So we're self-operated UBC, and
I
I
know, which is why it's
always,
so sweet to get it, to
for
get a
sure,
relationship directly with you guys, just because there's a different feeling for people to be doing business where you're not dealing with a service provider and, not understanding how this whole system actually works. Like it's really complicated, right? Or it can be. Excuse me. It's kind of been made to be a bit complicated in my opinion. And so it's nice to see that's kind of getting the knots are kind of getting undone now on all of that. So it's good to see.
Yeah, no, it is made to be complicated. It's made to be easy to buy food globally and very
Yeah.
hard to buy food locally, and
Yeah.
that is wrong in my opinion. So anything that we can do to disrupt that, we're certainly doing that in BC,
Mm-hmm.
and I echo you. If you can do that and bring this vision across the country,
Be great.
I think it's great. I mean, that's
Mhm.
another reason why I like working at UBC and the work that we do there is like
Yeah.
the rest of Canada, certainly in North America, they take note and they're
Yeah.
interested in what we're
Yeah.
doing, right? So there's scalability beyond even our large food system at UBC. It's
Yeah.
much bigger than that.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's very cool. Is there any plans for UBC to expand even further or
Yeah, well, we're building a new dining hall, so that will be, another significant piece of
wow.
business for us, right? So that will
Okay.
be our fourth. We're just breaking ground on that now, so it's like
Wow.
2029, I believe, is when it's going to be
Wow.
open.
Okay.
And what I really like about that is there will be a number of beds in there that will be on first year mandatory meal plan, but not as much as the other three. So that really creates an opportunity for us to sell our plans to the rest of the campus, swipe plans, door plans to other commuter students, staff, faculty, the community.
Yeah.
We technically are open to the public right now in our
Oh,
three
wow.
residence dining halls, but we don't advertise it widely because we're quite at capacity with our
Oh,
first year
okay.
students that are our
Okay.
priority already.
Yeah.
So the opening of this fourth dining hall will create an opportunity beyond that for
Oh,
us.
that's nice.
Mhm.
That's good. Wow. Okay. Well, I can't think of anything else. But if you think of anything else,
Yeah, yeah, no,
bring it
it's
up.
I just want to thank you for the work that you're doing,
Oh, thank
right?
you.
I follow along. Obviously, we're connected.
Yeah.
And when these brands come through and when we start doing business with them, I can see the Andrea effect,
Oh,
right? And it's
thanks.
important,
Oh, thank you.
and I know that they have had a level of education
Yeah.
in this world. You've walked their path already,
Yeah.
made the mistakes that they're gonna
Oh,
make
yes, lots.
inevitably, right?
Lots. Yeah.
So I think that's super helpful,
Yeah.
and I appreciate that. The work that you and your team do just makes my job that much easier as
Oh,
well.
that's wonderful. Thanks,
Mhm.
David. I
Of
really
course.
appreciate that. Thanks for
Mhm.
coming in.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. All right.
Awesome.